My granddaughter's been with me for a few days, and I immediately thought about the concept of trafficking, that mantra, if you see something, say something. We're living in a time unlike anything we've ever seen before. I always come back to the mantra by Stacy when the question is, what do you do? The answer is action. Action in spite of the distractions. The distractions we're going through right now take everything in you to focus your mind. It takes everything in you to pour your energy, your thoughts, and your spirit into creating the kind of life you desire for yourself and your family. As you think about the goals you've set for yourself, those you want to achieve this year, I encourage you to take a 3x5 card. The purpose of this card is to keep your mind focused on your agenda. On one side, write, I give thanks. Then add whatever it is you're grateful for or striving toward. For me, it's being off all my medication, being cancer-free, building a legacy for my children and grandchildren, and making a global impact by touching more lives, training more speakers, trainers, and life coaches. Write on that card, I give thanks, but don't stop there. Cultivate a conviction within yourself and your mindset that what you seek is already done. Before Jesus performed any miracles, he always gave thanks first. Similarly, when you step into the feeling and emotion of gratitude, holding the vision of what you desire as though it's already achieved, you create momentum. Doors open that you didn't see before. Magical things happen, things that will amaze you. The scripture comes alive. All things work together for good to those who love God and are called according to his purpose. As you reflect on your goals, keeping the main thing, set yourself up to win. Look at your environment. Your environment is crucial. Declutter it. Identify what you need to let go of and what you need to keep, things that hold value for you. Examine your skills, choices, behaviors, and relationships. What propels you toward your goals? What holds you back? Let go of liabilities, the habits, behaviors, and people that don't serve your purpose. This is a time to be mindful. You cannot operate on autopilot. Pay attention to what you're doing. Break your goals into incremental steps that will move you closer to what you want to achieve. I'm reading a book now titled From Warrior to Warrior about transitioning from a state of constant worry to a mindset of strength and resilience. If you want to make this your greatest decade, envision it as such. I see this for you a decade of plenty, starting with 2020. But life is a fight. It's hard. It's challenging. Unpredictable things happen. And you may wonder, where did that come from? During those moments, ask yourself, what do I need to do as I approach this year? What behaviors from 2019 do I need to leave behind? Who are the people I should spend less time with because we no longer share common ground? You can't afford flaky people or emotional vampires in your life. These toxic relationships compromise your power. Surround yourself with people who uplift and support you, people with talents, skills, resources, and connections that create mutually beneficial relationships. At the same time, nurture your relationships with your significant other and children. Create special moments with them. Another major focus should be your health. Stress is claiming lives. People are snapping under the pressure. When unemployment rises 1%, 10,000 women are beaten and children are abused. As you look at your goals and dreams, ask yourself, who can you turn to and who can turn to you? How can you cover each other and be there for one another? I recently went through a challenge with my granddaughter who suffered a full-term miscarriage. I'm so grateful for all your prayers. We felt them. Your support meant the world to us. It's comforting to know that during difficult times, there are people who care and lift you up in prayer, even people you don't know. It truly helped us weather the storm. We're still in the thick of it, but knowing that people care has taken the edge off. It made a difference to realize we weren't in this alone. Some people had gone through similar experiences and shared with me how to navigate it. When you prioritize your health, it becomes clear how much stress affects you. The stress in relationships, the stress of losing your job, the stress of working in an environment that's beneath your potential, the uncertainty, the lack of job security, it all weighs on you. Then there are the bills that keep coming like you just paid them yesterday, but there they are again. It gets to you. We're living in a time that honestly feels like it's moving faster than ever before. I know it's not just me. Somebody else has got to be feeling this too. In the midst of all this, having a ritual or plan of action for taking care of yourself is critical. That's something I had to learn the hard way. There will always be stuff. People will always have challenges to deal with. Dimples was right. If it ain't one thing, it's another. I found myself depleting my energy, giving too much of myself away. I love what Iamla Vanzant said, give to yourself until your cup runneth over, and then give to others from the overflow. That's powerful. Now I'm creating rituals for myself for yoga, walking, going to the gym, and swimming. These are ways I take care of me. Life is throwing a lot my way, and I remember when I was flat on my back in pain from sciatica and cancer. That's tough. You've got to deal with it, but you also have to make yourself a priority. Start making choices that reflect a higher level of thinking, because these are different times. As you look ahead, take a moment to focus on creating peace in your life. I use candles, incense, soft music, and scriptures to center myself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I read a variety of things, Khalil Gibran, the Prophet Habakkuk, and others. These practices help me find calm. I also love watching comedies, things that make me laugh. I avoid content that makes me feel tense, scared, or overwhelmed. When I saw the movie Harriet, I was inspired. It was such a powerful film. I also enjoy finding inspirational messages online. There's a young man named William Hollis who has a speech titled, "I didn't come this far to come this far." He's different, and his words really resonate. When I reached out to him, I was glad to learn he was familiar with my work and shared how it had impacted his life. In these times, with everything going on, the impeachment hearings, violence among young people, kids not feeling safe in school, it's a lot. Now, children are having drills about what to do if someone comes into their school with a gun. They can't even focus on learning. Just yesterday, a young boy said, "This is it," pulled out a gun and started shooting. Someone had to take him out. This violent culture is alarming. Decades ago, I read a study about cultures with low rates of violence. When American television was introduced to those cultures, violence increased by 35%. People say garbage in, garbage out, but it's more than that. Garbage in stays. It shows up in behavior, attitudes, and mindsets. It shapes the culture. That's why creating peaceful relationships is so important. Life will bring you enough drama and pain on its own. You don't have to add to it. Viktor Frankl called it unavoidable suffering. It's going to come, whether to you or someone you care about. It will hit you hard. All you have to do is keep living. I don't care if you're tired, speaking in tongues, or cute, it's coming for you. It's coming for all of us. The key is finding peace in the midst of the storm. You have to be able to get still, go within, and find gratitude. Lord, thank you for waking me up this morning. I used to wonder why my mama always said, "Thank you, Lord, for waking me up in my right mind." Now I understand why is it now that I put something down and then have to call my kids to help me find it. I'll be looking for my glasses, and they'll say, "Mr. Daddy, you've got your glasses on." I was talking to my son, and he asked, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm trying to find my phone." He laughed and said, "Daddy, you're talking to me on your phone." Oh my God, do you think I'm losing it? It's amazing, but it also scares me sometimes. Things are right in front of me and I don't even see them. It's a sign, slow down, take a deep breath, chill for a moment, and calm down. Listen to yourself, watch yourself, back up and just chill out. I'll tell you, it hasn't been easy. It's a different level of living and orientation. I'm used to pushing myself and driving hard, but this is a new season to be thankful, a new season to be mindful, a new season to be grateful. It's a new season to stop and rethink your life, a season to look around and thank God, look behind and praise God, and look ahead and ask God to order your steps. This new season is upon us to bring out the next greatest version of ourselves. It's a time to be vigilant. A time to build strong relationships, deep relationships, and spend time with the people who matter, those you know you can count on. And if you don't have those relationships, build them. Family is not determined by bloodline. No, family is determined by what's in your heart. What's in your heart? You have something special. Remind yourself of that even if you don't have two pennies to rub together. Remind yourself of that even if the relationship you thought would last forever ends and the person you love doesn't love you anymore. You still have something special. Remind yourself of that even when you're down on your luck and things aren't looking good. It didn't come to stay, it came to pass. Remind yourself of this: you are more than your circumstances. You are more powerful than what you've gone through or are going through now. And understand this, the truth will set you free. But let me tell you something, the truth will never set you free until you destroy the lie that you currently believe, the lie that's holding you hostage. Only then will you be liberated and unleash your greatness. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Let me tell you something else. You might not be my bloodline, but you are my love. Thank you. You are welcome, and thank you for reminding us about wealth. Leroy, how do you like that? I love it. That's a strong close. I'm stealing it. Yeah, me too. Until you defeat the lies you've been telling yourself, you won't be free. That truth right there can change someone's life. Mr. Brown always says, the transformation of our mind and the renewing of our mind will help us graduate to the next version of who we are becoming. The words you shared tonight were timely. You talked about loss. You talked about putting one foot in front of the other when life gets hard. These messages couldn't be more appropriate for a time like this when people are losing hope and struggling to cope. You reminded us to focus on the blessing of waking up in our right mind. I laughed because yesterday I was looking for my phone only to realize it was in my hand. Yes, it's scary, but here's what I know. If you walk into an operating room during surgery, it looks like a murder is taking place. But after the procedure, healing happens. Sometimes we get so caught up in darkness and the purveyors of evil and hatred that we forget God is still in control. We forget that we are stronger than this. We've gone through worse. We are the children of those who would not die. We've endured and seen so much. Think about James Weldon Johnson's words. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod felt in the days when hope unborn had died. But here we are now, standing strong. I talked to a friend today who spent time in federal prison. I asked her what that was like. She said, I'm from Africa. That was nothing. I had time to think and take my life in a new direction. She said it with such conviction, and I admired her spirit. At the end of the day, we have a power and a presence within us that is stronger than anything we face. We need to remind ourselves of that. Have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed? I talked to a friend of mine today who had spent some time in federal prison. I asked her, what was that experience like? She replied, I'm from Africa. That was nothing. I'm from Africa. That was nothing to me. I had time to think, and I'm taking my life in another direction. But I'm from Africa. She said it with such conviction. Today, I am not going to allow that to break my spirit. What we have to do is realize that we have power. At the end of the day, there's a presence and a power in us that is stronger than anything we're facing. We have to remind ourselves of that. I remember when I was overcoming claustrophobia. I don't like closed spaces at all. They usually want to give me something to sedate me because they know I can't handle it. But I said, no, I don't want to take anything that's going to mess with my mind. I have to know what's going on. I remember the second time I went for the procedure. They had postponed it the first time because I just couldn't do it. At that time in the mid-'80s, they didn't have open MRIs like they do now. I had been diagnosed with prostate cancer, and they brought me back into the room. The nurse asked, are you going to be all right? I said, yes, but can I hold a Bible in my hand? She said, no, you can't hold anything. I said, okay. They had me lie down on the table in one of those little gowns. I said to myself, I'm going to recite the 23rd Psalm. When they pushed me into the machine and closed the door, I kept my eyes shut, just like they told me. But what they didn't tell me was that there would be a loud thumping sound. All of a sudden, I heard it thump, thump, and I saw the top of the MRI machine. Oh God, the Lord is my shepherd, I started to recite, but I couldn't even complete it. My heart was racing. They said, keep your hands at your sides, sir. Please, sir? I replied, yes, 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 yes. Breathe deeply, sir. Yes. Then they turned the lights out, and I heard the nurse exit the room. She went into another room to start the machine. Something happened that I've never told anyone before. They got distracted. I don't know what it was, but they didn't come back to open the door for me. I think I was in there for about an hour and a half. That's a long time. I kept saying to myself, the Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. When I finally heard the door open, I felt so relieved. I heard them talking, and they sounded panicked. Oh my God, one of them said. I know he's furious. He's probably going to report us and ask that we be fired. I told Jerome not to distract us in the control room. When they pulled me out, they immediately started apologizing. We're so sorry, Mr. Brown. They were trying to explain what had happened, but I raised my hand and said, listen, you don't have to worry. I heard you talking, and I'm not going to report you. I told you I was very frightened, and I'm not going to report you. When they brought a wheelchair for me to sit in, I told them, I'm not going to report you, But you're going to report me because I left you a little gift. Everyone listening to this will probably fall out laughing at that one. Stay connected to keep up with what's coming next from Mr. Brown, and stay tuned for what's ahead in 2020. Remember, action, action, despite the distractions. What does Mr. Brown always tell us? There's greatness in you. Yes, you. So go out there, make it happen, and make this your best year yet. This is Dr. Stacy signing off. Have a blessed night. Bye-bye.